How does one know where one is in the whole process? It's a tricky one because not every awakening is given an insight to such degree that one can have this self-examination kind of open to the self-examination. Some awakenings can be so intense, and due to the particular nature of awakening itself, it will be accompanied by these insights. Maybe because it is required at maybe two levels of requirement. One, that the person who goes through this requires to have these insights due to, let's say, nature of the process itself, where it somehow leans on that self-administering power, because there is a lack of the external guidance. It's that more rare, let's say, situation where one is, as it were, encapsulated into that, where that guidance begins to be offered on the account that there is no guidance otherwise available. You see what I mean? So it's almost like consciousness here resorts on its own resources. And on the other level, reasons for that could be because that whoever undergoes this somehow already in advance being coaxed, being prepared, being tapered by consciousness in order to do their job later on. In other words, it's something already in the training. So someone for whom the process unveils itself. If some of you have taken Kundalini course, you might remember when we spoke about the anatomy of the ascent and the anatomy of the available nadis, which is basically limited to 6 only. And remember that out of this, only 3 that are actually legitimately truly leading to the culmination of the process. And one in particular, the Chitrini rising, is known for giving a full access to the process and the internal nature of the process due to the specifics of the Chitrini rising. Now, if you didn't have the chance to take Kundalini course, I don't want to kind of confuse you, but there are videos out there that we have shared where we speak about this, where we speak about the structure of Sushumna and that in additional pathways where the pranic currents rise, which can be chosen by Kundalini due to, let's say, unavailability of the central channel. So, in other words, the first part of your question, first sentence of your first question, is a tricky one because there is no otherwise, in the majority of cases, access to have that self-examination on where one is in the process, because most of the criteria are unreliable here. There are, however, signposts along the journey, certain marked, let's say, points of departure. And these marked points of departure can serve as a reassurance that one is in a way in the active process and one is experiencing that unfoldment, and there is this progressive unfoldment. So in other words, it's not a merry-go-round or catch-22. There's no some kind of like locked in some kind of loop. But to give these insights for self-examination is impossible, even for the one, let's say, who has this access in their own sadhana. They cannot just project that onto someone. It requires quite a, let's say, just like when one goes to the doctor one goes to the physician. Not every physician will be able to have direct access to the processes in the body. And one maybe out of, I don't know, 10, let's say the ratio, 20, 1 in 100, I don't know, I don't want to now speculate here, will have that ability to look into the exact nature of the process. But every other physician would have to resort to the so-called what they have learned, and there's nothing wrong about that, because that's also gives the map of the process because of what we have shared reality of anatomy. Any process that, let's say digestive tract, circulation, functioning of this part of nervous system or that, right? All this is accessed and understood from the point of view that we share anatomy. So certain disalignment, certain disbalance will express itself in a variety of ways which have been examined clinically and classically. And now I'm speaking from both, from holistic and from allopathic perspective. I'm not giving any preferences. I'm not saying that one has the precedence over the other. I'm just speaking that in terms of the diagnostics only, you see? So whether this is satisfying for you to hear or not, but that's the understanding that I have with regard to how does one know where one is in the process. Maybe an additional note here. And yet, despite of all that, there are certain distinctive aspects that one is presented with upon certain realizations where one knows without an iota of a doubt that one is in the possession of something which is beyond the doubt itself. You see? And now we speak about that, let's say, because you put it in brackets, from activation to awakening, right? When a true awakening takes place, it's beyond the shadow of a doubt. You know that this is it, that's what it is. Because true awakening, it's a complete and utter realignment of all that, what otherwise may still present itself as just this or that psychic phenomena, this or that pranic phenomena. You see? Awakening as a term, the very term itself, has been so much talked about because of that distinctive nature of a shift from one state of consciousness to another. So awakening, let's say, to a waking state of consciousness from dreaming is very clear, because one knows, now I dreamt and now I have awakened. In exactly the same way that Buddha has declared that I am awakened in the very first encounter, when he was asked, who are you, whatever the custom is, and whatever first encounter was there, we know that classically, even traditionally, that led to the first encounter in the family when he met his father, and when his father said something to him, or I don't want to go into but his response was, sir, I am Buddha. Not like, father, here's your son, like, I've been wandering around, I realized the great thing to realize, come, give me a hug. No, he was like very stern, very stubborn. That Buddha was very stubborn, like none of this frivolity. Father, son, no, excuse me, sir, I am Buddha. I'm awakened. So I'm giving this as a kind of like tongue-in-cheek encounter, so many things written about that. But the response Buddha gave to the first passerby and later to his father was, who are you? I am awakened. That's what he said. So the term Buddha stuck with him. Buddha is the Sanskrit term which stands here for both intellect and awakened. Buddha, Buddhi. So that's why it would not give full justice in speaking about it, that there is this distinctive knowing because it's a shift into another state of consciousness, another level of consciousness.